valuation. Does it
Yes.
mean that, I mean, at the end of the year, any stock that is left will be valued at the current price? Anything that, even if they are bought at
No,
very
no. They will not be valid at current market price. No, but they will be valued at the later prices. That is, for example, in our own case, we looked at stock that will be, how to call it, let's say we bought some stock of goods in January, and let's say in October we bought some other goods. Let's keep it simple, right? So using first in first out method, okay, we are going to use the prices of the selling price, the cost price of the stock that came in October, okay? Because we're going to assume that all other stock that came in before October, okay, before October have been exhausted. So like the January one, if there is any in February and so on and so forth. So the assumption will be stock will be valued at prices that came later. It doesn't mean there will be market price. For example, in this situation, it will be the latest transaction price, which in this case is what? October. Is it clear?
Yes, correct.
Good. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. So we're going to look at, we're going to go into absorption costing now, right? So how do we do absorption costing? We're going to have some steps that we need to follow when we are doing absorption costing. So the first step is we look at the overheads. Okay, we make sure we separate the overheads from the variable cost. Okay, so we put them together in one pool. We know that these are variable costs and these are overheads. Easily variable costs, we know where to relate them because they will always relate with the product or the service easily. So you don't have any issues. So when we pull the overheads together, so the first thing we do is we try to allocate them, okay, directly. There are some overheads that you will be able to allocate easily. For example, if it is supervision cost, supervision cost could be an overhead. But if it is a supervision cost in a manufacturing company, okay, so you will know that we are manufacturing a particular product here. Okay, let's say we are manufacturing product A here. So the supervision cost of product A, naturally you will know that the supervision cost in that department, you will naturally know that this relates to product A. So easily you can allocate the specific overheads, the overheads that are directly attributable to the product or service. Is that clear? Then you will be left with, there are two types of overheads. You have specific overheads and general overheads. The general overheads are overheads that is everybody's business. And then they say what belongs to everybody belongs to nobody. Okay, so things like rent cost. For example, if you're going to operate your company in a rented, premises, okay, you will have various departments. You have your production department, you have your finance department, you have your admin department, you have your HR department, you will have your packaging, and so on and so forth. You have various departments, okay? But all those departments, they share one rent, isn't it? Because they all operate under one building. So now if you have a rent cost and then you need to share this between your products, you have a problem. Okay, you have a problem. So for general overheads, it is difficult to apportion them. It is difficult to share them. Okay, so in order to share them, we must use a basis. Okay, we must use a basis. For example, let's say UTG have got staff cost. Okay, that's cost relating to lecturers. Okay, what they are paying to lecturers, and then they want to apportion this cost between their various products. So UTG's various products will be what? The various courses, the BSc in accounting course, the medicine course, the nursing course, and so on and so forth. So if they want to, apportion that, okay? So what are they going to do? They'll have to use a basis. So what will be the best base here? What will be the best base here? You could have various bases, isn't it? So what will be the best base here? Do you understand my question? We are talking about overhead, and overhead, let's say by University of the Gambia or any, or any education services institution, okay? You have teaching costs, and you want to share this between your various products. And like I said, the various products that UTG will have will be the various courses, the BSc in accounting, the BSc in HRM, medicine, engineering, and so on and so forth. So if you want to oppose on it, how are they going to do it? Because they do, all the payments are done by HR department over there. But then when they want to know how each and every product is doing, how each and every cost is doing, they have to share those overheads, and then they'll be able to know whether it is worthwhile to run this course or not. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, we understand.
Yes.
So,
How about the number of students registered for that?
Excellent. So the best base will be the number of students registered for various courses. Okay, so that will be the best base. Okay, but you can use other bases also. You can use the classroom size. You can use a lot of other, but the best base will be what? The number of students that are enrolled on each of those courses. Then that could be used as the basis. Okay, so this is exactly what is explained here, right? So the fourth step is to absorb the general overheads. Okay, we know we have specific overheads. We don't have any problem with them because we could be able to trace them to their products and services. But our problem is the general overheads. So the general overheads, what we do is we absorb them, okay? How we absorb them? By absorbing them means we try to share them, and then we will try to make them belong to particular products or services or departments, if you like, right? So how do we do that? We do that by, of course, determining a rate. If you want to share something, you must find a rate. Okay, and then that rate is what we call our OAR, our overhead absorption rate, or it could be called FOAR, fixed overhead absorption rate. Okay, so we could use our FOAR to absorb our general fixed overhead. Okay, so how do we calculate our OAR or our FOAR? We calculate our FOAR by considering the budgeted overheads that we are talking about, or the overhead, the actual overhead that we are talking about. We divide it by the budgeted activity level. Okay, the budgeted activity level will differ from organizations to organizations. We've given a typical activity level that the UTG could use. We've just mentioned it. That's the number of students enrolled under each course. So if, for example, a hospital has got some overheads that it wants to absorb, what are some of the activity levels they can use? Let me tell you about activity level. Activity level is the number of units of items that gives money, that gives cash to the business. For example, we know, of course, the activity level for UTG is the number of students. It's the students that gives money to the university, isn't it? So if we're talking about an activity level in a hospital, what are we talking about?
Patients and the number of
Maybe the number of
Huh?
patients.
The number of patients, both inpatients and outpatients. Okay, both inpatients and outpatients. If we're talking about the activity level in, let's say, Sankunsila soap manufacturing organization, what will be their activity level?
It's going to be
Yes,
the
number
products
of
they
soap,
manufacture.
soap produce.
The number of soap or the number of plastic balls or whatever they produce that will be sold. Okay, so please take note of activity level. It's very, 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 very important. Okay. Okay, in some cases it could be hours, it could be machine hours, okay, depending on what the question asks for. So when we determine our OAR, we use our OAR to absorb it. How do we absorb it? We multiply our OAR by the actual activity level. For example, if we want to absorb the teaching cost at the University of the Gambia, what we will do is we will take the total teaching cost divided by the total number of students that have enrolled in that particular period. We will get our OAR. And in order to absorb it to, let's say, the accountancy cost, we will take the rate that we got multiplied by the number of students that have enrolled for the accountancy course. Okay? So that's the OAR multiplied by the actual activity. I hope this is clear. I mean, I'm trying to put, life into this because a lot of teachers, a lot of lecturers won't be able to give you, in its, applied form like this. Okay? And what we end up doing is we rote learn. We say, oh, what is FOAR? FOAR is overheads over activity level. They will know overheads, but they won't even know what activity level is. So as such, when exams comes, you have to memorize. Hey, but the last time when I was doing this question with Mr. Fofana, we used hours in activity level. Oh, but hours is not here. Oh my God, what is activity level? Because you don't understand what activity level is. I hope this is clear.
It's clear, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
It's clear.
Okay, good. So we calculate our rate, which is our OAR, and then we multiply by the actual. So we will come to see in ABC that it is very, very, very similar to absorption costing, but ABC is more efficient. Okay, so having this understanding, let's go and do our question. Let's go and do our question. Actually, before we do our question, any how to call it, any interjection, any questions, any clarity you want to make? Okay, what we can do is, before we do the question can come last. Let's look at the some of the criticisms and some of the advantages of activity-based costing. Okay, so of course the advantages are clear. It is a familiar method. Okay, it is a familiar method. That's why it's called the traditional costing technique together with management accounting. Everybody knows it. Okay, and of course it is not complicated to use. Why it's not complicated to use? Because it has one single OAR. Okay, unlike ABC, ABC has got different. We don't call them OARs in ABC, but we call them cost driver rates. Okay, but cost driver rates is the same as OAR. So in ABC, you have different OARs, if you like, OAR in quote, meaning cost driver rates, whilst in in absorption costing, you only calculate one OAR and apply it. So that makes it advantageous over ABC. Okay, but notwithstanding, it has got some criticisms or it has got some disadvantages. Of course, when you talk about absorption cost, especially when you talk about flow area, if you use flow area as the how to call it, the basis, there's a lot of guesswork. So it may not be accurate, but at least you have something to hold on to. Okay. Of course, it can only work in a single product and in a simple manufacturing. Okay. All this guesswork we try to work. But when it comes to complex manufacturing situations, it will be difficult to, use an absorption rate like that. Okay. So those are some of the downsides of ABC. Okay. So now we're going to do our question. So what I'm going to advise you do is if you have not got the copy of this question, try to screenshot it now. Okay, try to screenshot it now. We can be able, because we are not going to